Hey everybody, Radaman here. Thanks for tuning in to Oxygen Not Included. So, last episode, we did the same thing we did the previous 4, actually. We were working on the Magma tube. But this episode, I'm actually going to change pace and start working on something new. I know, jaw agape. We are actually doing something different. So, what I'm going to be doing is working on the startup for liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen. This is going to require a whole lot of space that I'm going to carve out for myself. So this area here, near space, it's important that it is near where our rockets are, is going to be my hydrogen and oxygen freezing station, I guess you could call it. In order to do that, it's going to require a considerable amount of, construction and removal of objects, etc. So first thing I want to do is have a place for ice to go, because we're going to have a lot of ice as a result of this project, and, needs to go somewhere. Another thing I want to do is just my general storage. Well, it's not full yet, so I'll leave it. So the magma tube itself is looking pretty good. Now I won't be firing up the magma tube, not really, not in earnest, until basically until I am ready to go to space or whatever. Another thing I wanted to mention is, as you can see, let's go to the gas overlay here. This oil here is acting as liquid locks. So I'm going to mop this up as a high priority so that we don't accidentally liquid lock up gases that we'd want to pump otherwise. All right. Flooding. Deconstruct 9. Yep. Get rid of that. I don't care. So there's only a little bit of this ladder left to build. And then what I'm going to be doing is just sort of excavating the area. It's going to leave me with a whole lot of, honestly, unwanted material. But that's okay. We'll just keep dropping it to nowhere. Let's go ahead and sweep this up as a somewhat high priority to get ready for... Alright, construction 8. That'll work. To get ready for the big job of setting up the freezing stations. So there's a bunch of designs about how to make liquid hydrogen, which is one of the more challenging things to do in Oxygen Not Included, out on the internet. It doesn't really require me to show it, but I'll show you my take on it. It's not particularly unique or interesting. I will, add. But it is my take on it, and you're welcome to duplicate it if you want. Freezing oxygen and hydrogen may seem daunting at first, but I will tell you it is not. It is not that difficult. Another thing I'm going to do is all of these thermium auto sweepers, I'm going to get rid of. For the reason that eventually thermium auto sweepers will in fact destroy themselves with the temperatures, and without cooling, that will be, an unwanted thing for us to do. All right, so we have a bunch of mafic rock here. We're going to have a lot of mafic rock. We're going to have a lot of this sort of garbage. It's going to definitely slow down this process, but... So if you take a look at the magma tube, some of what the magma tube is made out of is going to have to change. Oh, that brings me to another point. In order to do the liquid cooling, that I've set as pretty much my last goal. My last goal of Oxygen Not Included is to build a rocket that can make it to the Terra. So, in order to do that, I am going to need a considerable amount of ceramic. With that said, insulation is a better material, but it is harder to come by. Far, far harder to come by. So, if I need ceramic, my best bet is to put ceramic, because ceramic will produce a lot of heat. So I'm looking at the heat overlay here to put ceramic kilns where I have the heat dump. So what I could do here is if I go to, let's say, ventilation, I could stick some radiant gas pipes. And then I could go to utilities and stick some temp shift plates. Actually, I don't want the temp shift plate. Oh, that's not even where I thought I clicked. Cancel build. So we're going to be making like large batches of ceramic. So I'm just setting up a ceramic making station. And it will look something like this. So these storage bins are going to contain coal and clay, the ingredients for ceramic. And then we'll have 4 kilns. So that also means that this old kiln, this clay storage here, I'm going to set to 1. Or no, I'll set it to 5. So it doesn't necessarily get ripped out. But here is the ceramic. And then the radiant gas pipes will help to super deep freeze the area with the temp shift plates. It's not a lot of temp shift plating, but these kilns are going to be making a lot of ceramic. I'm going to just set them to forever. And then in these, consumable ore for coal, 9, 9. And then for these, it will be cultivatable soil, clay, 9 and 9. Yeah, gold amalgam. Between those two. Okay, so this is almost tidied up. Alright, here's what I'm gonna do. A conveyor receptacle made of thermium here. And then steel auto rails. See if I can't speed up this process just a little bit. So we did get this mopped. And let's start vacuum sealing out the bottom again. I think it would be very, very cool to get it truly vacuum. Not for any good reasons, might I add. Just something I want to do. For fun. It is a video game after all, guys. It is a video game. Surprise, surprise. Alright, I'll be probably clearing out an area larger than I physically need to. But that's par for the course for me. Over-engineered. And let's switch heads yet again. Alright, these are going to change to copy 7. Just to make sure that we are getting lots of ceramic out of it. Now, ceramic is a very good insulator. It's not a perfect insulator like insulation is, but it is close. Let's see if I can't find something made of ceramic. So sandstone. I've used ceramic before, haven't I not? Maybe I have not. I feel like I have, though. Going up here. Well, if I haven't, yeah, it is a near perfect insulator. Not perfect. Well, the cargo bays are made of ceramic, I guess. But the properties of them aren't going to be obvious, given that they're cargo bays. So it's going to take a while to clear out, to mine out the area that we need in order to utilize the space for liquid cooling. I'm just going to call it liquid cooling because it is liquid oxygen and hydrogen. So it is both. My ship is actually very, very close to coming home. So let's get this regolith out of the way if possible. Detected. Come on, sweep. Sweep faster. Nope. Guess they didn't get to it. And just a reminder, we're coming home from getting more fullerene for supercoolant. I'm probably going to be required to continue to make fullerene runs. But there's not enough material. Oh, yeah, we did clear it in time. Oh, how'd that feel, Triforza? Going underneath there. There's not enough fullerene in that node in order to make it worth for 2 rockets. As you can see, there's not even enough resources available to make a return trip for sine curve for a bit. So I'm not going to retrofit the other rocket to bother doing it, in other words. Up here, what was I going to do? I was going to introduce more petroleum into the coolant line. As you can see, it's just slow drips now. We need a bit more petroleum. I've been using that petroleum to refuel, but as a result, you know, we do run out of it. And here's the iso resin and fullerene and stuff like that that's getting sorted so that we can go back and make more supercoolant. So supercoolant is basically the only thing I'm really after at this point. I probably have enough thermium that I don't really need to make any more. So at this point, it's just the lengthy process of sort of excavating this area. And I'm going to go about this low, which does mean that this liquid might have to drip into our magma tube. All the more reason to finish this section of the magma tube, actually. And, yeah. Get it ready for the big time. So I'm going to stop sweeping. No, actually, I am going to continue sweeping. I apologize. So the reason I want to sweep, and yes, you're probably thinking, hey, aren't you building this magma tube as a trash dump? Yes, I am. However, there's a caveat. Not all things should be thrown into the magma. There are certainly a lot of material that I do not want thrown into the magma. So let's see. Yeah, the hot temperatures coming off of these kilns are being pretty reasonably offset by the cooling. So that's good. These kilns make a lot of heat. But I have this awesome coolant line, so I might as well use it. Might as well use it. All right, all these boxes are built. So this is just to store ices that I don't have space for in my ice recovery area. If you recall, long ago, I built this like little ice recovery area that can capture ice, but we don't really need it. It's not like we have a whole lot of ice, you know, it's not like we have a lack of water. Oh my god, do I have a lot of water. So much water that it's getting dense at the bottom. And yet, we keep dumping more and more water in. Alright, looks like I'm getting a good bit of coolant now. I'll probably... you know, we still have a bunch of petroleum ready for the pipes, so I'll keep that going. There we go. That's some really good cooling. Yeah, those kilns, you can't make enough heat to affect me. What I like to see. Alright, did we do the construction receptacle? No, we have not. Do I have to make this an emergency? I probably do. I feel like the larger my colony becomes, the more yeah, oh, that's not really what I meant to build, but the larger my colony becomes, the more inefficient my guys become. And I think that's just what scale is, right? I think if I had a conveyor loader there that isn't cooled, it would cause some damage. So I think what I'm going to do instead is the very, very lazy way of just adding a lot more boxes. Just so that I can physically move more material. I'm also not likely to use these sweepies. I've sort of decided to not care about a perfect dock up here and focus my efforts elsewhere. So we can break those down. Recover the thermium. So down here, if you look at the gas mix, a pretty wide variety of gases are down here. We've got chlorine, carbon dioxide, pockets of oxygen, hydrogen, natural gases. There is probably even... There could be the, you know, sour gases and stuff like that. There's something else I wanted to point out, which was in here, there are zombie spores. Because this spore kid here was alive for a bit. So I got to be cautious about that. I obviously don't want sporkid spores to go anywhere into my colony. That would be bad. That would in fact be bad. Alright, so now we have like a lot more bins that it can store material that I need to move in. And that way we can clean up this mafic rock a little bit quicker. It does mean that the auto sweeper here is just going to get backed up further. But I don't really care. Right, I'm going to try to finish the magma tube so it's just sort of more in a ready state. So everything over here is going to become a high priority until it's done. I might even make it emergency out of frustration with how slow they work at times. I'm also going to continue watching for resources available for me to make return trips for fullerene. Because it wouldn't be a terrible thing for me to get some additional resources like that. And we have just about filled up these bins as well. Now, one of the beautiful things about these bins, I could just do this. Empty them out. And then do that. This material here is still ready and available for the auto sweeper to sweep. Obviously. But these bins can hold more stuff. So, kind of a cheese way of just making more room. Not a bad one, though. Alright, we have strikes coming. Now, some of these gas vents are becoming overpressurized, so it's going to be important for me to finish off this silly project, call it what it is, because as the gas vents are overpressurizing, we're not really going to be able to continue to vacuum seal. Now, one of the reasons to vacuum seal down here is another way to prevent heat from dumping from the magma tube into anywhere that should not have, the heat. So another thing I want to do here is to replace, so go to ceramic, and replace swaths of the walls here with ceramic. And then also, I don't think we're allowed to even be in here yet. So we're going to have to wait until we've cut through here to do this. I'll just wait on that, actually. But as you can see, ceramic goes pretty quick. You know, I've been working on making a whole bunch of ceramic, and honestly, it would go a little faster if I put some auto sweepers to sort of manually manage the process. So let's do that, I guess. Okay, so the sweeping up here looks good. And I am entirely out of power, it seems like. Oh, yeah. So one thing I could do to keep my power from draining out is just disable the transit tube access. Because the amount that my dupes use the transit tubes to just go like 15 feet is not insignificant. And we could definitely retain a lot more power if we didn't do little hops here and there. Oh, this looks good. That was a big swath. Good job. I don't know who did that, but that's looking great. So it's a lot of stuff to sweep. Now, it wouldn't be terrible for me to get more insulation either. So I'm going to continue the insulation, but as you can see, we're going to run out of reed fiber pretty quickly. That's sort of to be expected. I had a lot of reed fiber, but, you know, I certainly don't have, like, an infinite amount or anything like that. Now, it will take a while to sweep all this up. But I am patient. The reason I want to sweep it up is some of the material that's here wouldn't melt in the magma anyway, like the abyssalite, for instance. And then some of the material I might want to use. And the worry here is if I dump it into the... anything that I normally use, like let's say igneous rock, right? Magma is liquid igneous rock. As you can see, magma is a composite of igneous rock heated and molten to a liquid state. Well, here's the issue. The issue is, of course, that that if I dump everything that I want, everything that I see into the magma, it's going to cause some problems. It's going to definitely cause some issues because not everything will melt. Some of the things that will, some things that won't melt quickly will then just generate heat, and then my dupes might want to try to build with it. So if I did drop, you know, let's say igneous in here, and then my dupe is like, oh, let me go build with it, they're going to climb into the lava to then build with it. That won't end well. All I'm going to say is that won't end well. So there's a lot of reasons why you'd want to, you know, I only really want to put regolith and maybe mafic rock into the magma tube, and not much else. You know, I'm going to be very picky about what goes down there for that reason. But it does look like my duplicants are making some pretty good progress on getting this built, which is nice. Because now we have a very, very short run. Taking a look at the gas density, we're in, you know, milligrams at this point, which is good. Tiling stuff up. And let's go for a sweep before we dig again. I don't think I actually could get to this stuff without doing some digging. All right, while we're doing that, I would very much like this ladder, at least down to there, because I'm going to cut off the next layer of regolith and mafic and all that. Ooh, some free oxalite. I will take it. I'm sure I won't sweep it until it's mostly gone, but I'll try. Alright. Enough is enough. Please build those auto sweepers. There we go. Now these auto sweepers will make ceramic for me automatically. I do have to worry about heat buildup, because these are going to be cranking out the ceramic. But should be good. Should be good amount of resource. Yeah, the sweeping of this takes a while because it's a lot of small stacks of stuff. I don't actually... They're grabbing 10 phosphorite at a time to go fertilize with it, which is even more ridiculous. Running to the corner of the map to gain a tiny bit of resource seems crazy to me. 1200. We're up to 1,200. This poor auto sweeper. And there's just a ridiculous amount of material here now. Tons and tons and tons of everything. Now, at this point, I can deconstruct these tiles because there's really nothing falling from above anymore. I'm not going to bother putting in a fire pole, as it would transfer heat from the magma biome. Because, of course, fire poles, although they would allow my duplicants to go down quickly, all of these are like thermally reactive, high conductivity metals, right? You know, I really can't put a fire pole in without having the heat transfer upwards, and, well, that would be really, really, really bad when I'm messing with magma. Another thing I want to do is, what are the prettiest ones here? The robot arms are pretty. Oh, the eggs are really pretty. The magma lamps? Oh, all right. Let's do 2 magma lamps. Let's, remove and remove. So, now that I know that I'm sort of due to head into the magma biome, more or less, I do want to make my hospital a kinder place. Because I think we are going to get a lot of people hospitalized. Now, magma won't instantly kill duplicants, but it will burn them and scald them pretty quickly. So what I'm doing is I'm planning on having a hospital that is nicer to look at, so that the decor in here is higher. And I might as well put in some of the beautiful magma lamps, because it might actually, depending on the range of the light, it might help to treat my my wounded a little faster, which is sort of the point. Plus, it's just pretty. Oh, look at that ceramic. I'm very happy about that. All right, we are almost done sweeping everything down here. The pinch of pepper, I'm going to set to compost so we can get it a little bit quicker. It's a lot of pinch of pepper nuts going to compost, but they're kind of stale anyway, so whatever. If these don't extend light enough, I can just put a light up top. And we would want maximum decor in here. Yeah, okay. It's maximum decor, but what about the light? The light is not enough. Okay. Did not think so. So if I stick a light here, then that ought to work. There we are. So now, if we do have people that are hospitalized, at least it's very pretty in there. So, that's nice. It's not technically a hospital, though. Because if you take a look at the room overlay, I would need a toilet and a mess table for it to be properly a hospital. What is the benefits of that? Oh, they're less likely to spread disease? Okay. That doesn't really help me at all, because I don't think that, they're not going to be diseased. They're just going to be wounded. So, that's not helpful. All right, we are ready to go even lower in our magma tube. Well, oh, wow, we did a good job up here. Let's get that swept up. And resources available, not enough to warrant the trip. But having refilled all these rockets... Oh, you know what? The cool still looks fine. I was going to say it looks a little thin, but it's not. Okay, let's hotkey this area to 6. There it is. And now we can dig a little deeper. Guess we'll be given the magical 9 priority. The other question is, do we care about trying to recover this stuff? And I don't really have a answer for that. I don't know. Maybe. If we do, we'll need some ladders. Or these ladders. Granite, that's fine. And I will even wrangle these Drecos, because I think my ranch could use them. Yeah, could use at least 2. And there's a bunch of meat here, too, from, like, past generations of these Drecos just dying off, I guess. Okay, looking good. We're almost all the way done. Luckily, these high-pressure gas vents have not seized up. And the gas in here is getting real thin. There's pockets where it's a little thicker, especially over this end, because I don't have pumps that go all the way out here. But for the most part, good progress is made. Very good progress. Water, yes. Continue filtering that. All right, getting this built. And this is the last sort of annoying sweep run that I have to do until we're just about ready. That Dreco does not look happy. He looks pretty pissed, if you ask me. Did he escape wrangling? Yeah, I think so. I just took too long. Well, that will soon be finished swept. And then we'll go even lower. We're making good progress here, especially with the changes to these bins, so that I can store a lot more garbage at once. Up to 1,400. Now, if I timed it right, I could do a return trip to it. A return trip right before it's all resources available, because it does require travel time. But I'm just going to wait until that hits basically 2K. Okay, there isn't too much to sweep up here now. And quite honestly, now that I look at my setup here, these thermium doors really don't need to be thermium doors anymore. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, it doesn't really matter what material this is, they're just going to be temporary. I'm going to temporarily wall this off. So that I can replace the door with something else. Almost done. Did we get all our Drecos? Because we don't seem to be dropping them off any. Drop-off point will be 9s now. Trying to make sure that it is a bit higher of a priority. How's the heat? I don't really see detrimental effects from the mass kilning. And we've got tons of ceramic. I still want more. The project that I have in mind would be ideal if I had just like a ridiculous amount of ceramic. So I'm happy to get just a, you know, mass amounts of it. And that would be in... Where would ceramic be? Raw mineral? Yeah, here, 26 tons. So I don't think there's places to put the meat, which is why we haven't swept it. So all of this stuff that we have not swept yet, I'm going to compost. Just so that we can throw it away. It's kind of holding us up now. There they go. One at a time. It's alright, it will eventually get done. My natural gas looks a little low, probably due to some of the... I re-enabled this generator, but also just the amount of power that I've been drawing from the grid. Let's see about that power. So previous day... power usage. Biggest users were gas pumps. That doesn't surprise me. I have those gas pumps way down yonder in my sort of oil biome, and that is a lot of power being drawn. But I'm okay with that. I accept it because it's just a personal project. So as long as I don't brown out, and if I ever do start to brown out, I can always picked up 0 meat. Yeah, okay. If I ever start to brown out, I can always turn off those pumps. They don't need to be on. Yeah, we're already up like 5 more tons of ceramic. Pretty quick. All right, that is the last of it. Just about ready to descend. Uproot the mirth and then head on down. If we don't end up wrangling this Dreco, I will just kill it. How full is this? 6. And we're dropping off till 8. So we should want it. That's not so much the question. One thing I could do is well, no, even the grooming station, they're only tier 5. So I'm not really sure why no one's coming to wrangle this Dreco. But I'm going to start digging anyway, because I don't need to necessarily wait for the Dreco to dig. Because it will crawl around anyway. It's going to move. So the tube might be done this extendedly long episode, which all my episodes have been. Let's be honest. All right, we are just shaving this down. It's also really important, I want to note, that where you make liquid hydrogen and oxygen, you have vacuumed. So that's another reason why I'm going to build it in space. It's so that I can achieve vacuum very cheaply and easily. I don't need to pump anything. The vacuum already exists, and I'm just using it. And that's to prevent heat transfer. I'll explain this way further in detail when I get... maybe they can't wrangle it because they... No, I don't know. But I'll explain it way in a lot more detail when I get closer to being able to build it. But basically, liquid hydrogen requires you to chill things down to about negative 260-ish C, which is very, very, very cold. So if you're not protecting your efforts, if you're not insulating and all that kind of stuff, you're going to generate a lot of heat. You know, you're gonna if you let heat bleed into your liquid hydrogen efforts of you know, you're just making it harder for yourself, is I guess what I'm trying to say. So it's going to be really, really important to make sure that you aren't making your life more difficult and you maximize your efforts by insulating really well and all that jazz. We are just inches away from being done here. Well, meters, but still feels close. Also going to make it a little easier for this pump to get air or whatever gases. So a little bit of a wider approach here would help. Well, they built that quick. And still sweeping everything up because we don't want anything dumping into the magma, like I said. New printables, more gold amalgam, sure. How's our volcano doing? I haven't checked in on the volcano in a while. Oh, there's slime lung here. That seems avoidable. volcano. Well, you definitely haven't backed up. It's still producing power. I would say it's working. I see no issues with it. See no issues over here either. This anti-entropy thermal nullifier still running, still cold. Speaking of cold, the kilns. I'm going to pause the kilns for a bit. One, because I'm maybe have enough ceramic, but two, the heat did build up. Not very fast, because of all the hyper cold oxygen that was running through it, but you know, we still are going to want to make sure not to heat up our base from the inside after going to such great lengths to keep it cool. Just checking for pockets of, so there's still grams of gas up here, whereas almost everything else is milligrams. So the far east side is definitely the slowest, which makes sense. I would need another pump out here if I really wanted to slow it down more. I'm not that worried about it, that I'm going to add more pumps. It will get done when it gets done. But at this point, we are all the way down. We just have to connect it up. It's like, it reminds me of digging like a tunnel in real life, where they'll start the tunnel on two different sides of a mountain or whatever, and then they'll meet somewhere in the middle. And we're meeting up in the middle here in just a second. A little bit more sweeping and one more ladder, and then I'll be into this tunnel. And one of the effects of this is we have this high pressure oxygen, hydrogen, chlorine, and carbon dioxide that will start to be able to free flow towards space, which is really cool. We will be venting it passively, which is, I don't know, it's exciting. Another thing I wanted to do is go to the mineral overlay and check what things are made out of. So we've got obsidian ladder all the way up till here. And there it is, we are connected. So another thing I'm going to want to do is to, well, I did say I wanted to get rid of the thermium door. Because honestly, we're not going to be using this door anymore. And then above, where we have insulation, I'm not going to use any more insulation on this, but I will use ceramic. So I'm going to bring the ceramic up to about this level, which is honestly higher than the gas pressure vents. So I'm going to do something over here too, where the gas pressure vents are going to go up higher as well, and made of obsidian, which is important. So this is a rather sizable construction project now, but if I want the magma tube to work properly, it's necessary. So some of the reasons why: one, as I drop regolith and I drop mafic into the magma, when it melts, the level of the magma will rise. So even after, you know, I have literal tons of magma. So if you take a look at the density of this, like this is about 200 kilograms. If I dropped a ball of regolith, like a 25-ton ball of regolith, the magma would shoot from like this level here, up here, and then up here. It would start jumping and jumping and jumping and jumping. And given enough magma and, or given enough regolith and mafic that I, you know, add to the magma tube is going to, this tube is going to rise and rise and rise. And, igneous insulated tile will melt. the high pressure gas vents will melt because they're made of partially plastics. You know, there's a lot of stuff down here that would melt, and I don't want it to. So what I need to do is I need to be replacing it with material that will not melt. Material that is hardy against magma. You know, very heat hardened, in other words. So that's what this is all about. Whoa, 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 whoa. All right. I don't know why I would need to open this door really ever again. But I'll keep it plugged in anyway. So the obsidian insulated gas pipes, as you can see, have a melt temperature higher than the heat of magma. But these high pressure gas vents don't. These high pressure gas vents would melt. So that's why I'm increasing the height of the gas vents here. So they don't get destroyed. And then I'm also increasing the height of the insulated tubes into ceramic, because ceramic here also will not melt against magma. So some important other properties: the thermal conductivity of insulated tile is 0. Basically, it will not let heat transfer through it. Ceramic is not 0, but it's close to 0. So ceramic is near perfect. Insulation is, for all intents and purposes, perfect. And that's why the lower part of my magma tube is made of insulation, is so that when the magma does rise, the heat of this magma doesn't spill out to the surrounding area. But also, I'm vacuum sealing, or trying to, as you can see with these gas pumps, this biome here, because of course vacuum won't allow heat to transfer either. So if I pull all of the air out of this oil biome, it can't conduct heat towards anywhere else. Not that it really matters, because as you can see, all of my icy biomes are kind of ruined. You know, I barely have any virgin ice biomes that aren't currently melting, but vacuuming this will help to prevent the heat transfer as well. So that is another reason I am doing it. And these thermium wires aren't going to melt. You know, I'm just making sure that basically nothing I add to this below this height here will melt. This height is the Alamo, so to speak. Anything lower than this is impervious to, will be, once I'm done constructing, will be impervious to magma, and anything above is vulnerable. Like salt, for instance. Salt obviously melts way low, and I gotta be careful with the salt. Let's even go up a little higher. There we go. Oh, this sand? I'm gonna have to go even higher. Let's go up to here. That looks good. It can be cool if you melt salt, because you'll have molten rain. You'll have like salt rain or whatever. And I can purposefully at some point introduce salt into my magma tube for the neat effect of molten salts, molten salt rain, or whatever you want to call it. But I don't want to accidentally do that. If I'm doing it, I want it to be on purpose. Another thing I'm going to do is stick a ladder down here and dig this up. Our suits, our little exosuits are insulated enough that I should be able to get this done as long as I monitor the workers, so that they don't spend too much time in the magma and melt themselves. We are almost done. So once we construct all... Whoa, you just fell, didn't you? Once we construct all this, I'll start cracking into the magma. But I'm not going to add regolith to it just yet. And I do see the time on the clock, so... let's try to get this done before the... as fast as I can. Emergencies required. While I'm doing that, let's check in on the rest of the base. The water can dump. The Drekos are... Their populations are definitely... could be replenished. Come on, guys. I want the magma tube done this episode, and we're out of time. Here we go. Oh, you're just moving plastics around. More emergencies. They're like, ah, we're done. It's like, nope, I lied. All right, so now we are dumping the gas up at this height, which is going to be safer so that the vents themselves don't melt. And once we sweep all this up, and then build this last ladder, I can then crack the seal here and crack the seal down there. And we're just going to have an extra long episode for you all. I hope you don't mind. You thought the emergencies were over. So far, I haven't had stress build up as a result of these emergencies, so that's good. We're almost there. All right, here we go. Magma time. Let's sweep everything that should be swept up. Build that ladder. And technically, right now, I have a magma tube. Now, I do want to break in past this obsidian here, so that we have access to more magma. So here, as you can see, Dayman is getting scalded as a result of being in the lava, or magma. And he's going to need healing, which is all the more reason why I set myself up with a nice, beautiful, well-lit hospital bed. And I am... and they will get scalded a little bit. Now I'm building obsidian ladders, which will not melt in magma. Paddy wagon is definitely getting a little burned. And the burns are going to stress people out a little bit, for sure. But I'm just carefully watching to make sure that nobody gets to a point where they're really low on health. As you can see, if you go in quickly and leave quickly, it's survivable. And there we go. We have our magma tube and a ladder that goes all the way down. So the ladder is for the purpose... oh, the atmosphere checkpoint is starting to melt? Oh, boy. What is actually going on over here? Our suits got so hot. Why is there sand here? No checkpoint. Oh, the entry blew up. And people can't take off their suits. Yeah, so I did not expect that to happen. At all. Because I'm assuming my atmosuit checkpoint was made out of lead. And not copper. Or some other material, and it just like straight melted and destroyed itself. And we are starting to get naphtha too. Our suits got that hot that it's starting to melt everything around here. Well, that's not good. Who's still scalding? Oh yeah, because the temperatures got real hot here. It's equalizing pretty quickly though. I don't think I need to worry about it too much. But a lot of our guys cannot take off their suits. So now what I need to do, just to finish this off, is everyone that's inside the base needs to go traveling through the checkpoint who has their suits on to then be forced to take them off. Like Muhammad. Oh no, Muhammad just has the helmet. I guess it was just Dayman. And we have a lot of lightly wounded dupes. Now, as they sleep, they will recover. Yeah, definitely the checkpoint was made out of lead and kind of melted as a result. It's kind of funny. And then some of the liquid lock got screwed up too, but I can fix that, no problem. Sweep only. Visco gel. Don't sweep that Visco gel. And we are just about back to normal. Yep, there we are. Damon, why are you sleeping there? Okay, well, that is that. I have now our magma tube, as it's a clear tube from magma to space. Cost me, I don't know, a few scaldings, a few light burns, but there we go. We finally got it done. Next episode is obviously going to be about the liquid hydrogen and oxygen. That's going to be my focus. Once I have a rocket built ready to go to the temperate there, I will start to use the magma tube. I don't want to use it prematurely because there's a bit of a cost in terms of heat and insulation, all that stuff. So I am not going to be going to use the magma tube immediately. But thank you all so very much for watching. If you have feedback, let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Adios.